The information technologies are an integral part of our life, and they are now everywhere in the economy, heavy and light industries, the natural resources extraction, trade, and of course construction. Because that sphere, the key role is played by the precision and accuracy of the designing and planning. The erected buildings, houses, schools, polyclinics, transport infrastructure, industrial enterprises, and many other sites are constructed for centuries to come and have high cost, capital intensity. The designing of the digital image and model of the building defines very important for the planning, commissioning, operation, and construction. Using this technology allows more affordable and accessible to implement even the very complex projects. It's becoming more efficient in Europe and everywhere in the world. Nowadays in the United Kingdom, in Denmark, Finland, and many countries of the world, the state funding of the construction is implemented if there is the 3D model digital project of the model of the building. By 2025, we'll see the revolutionary transfer to this technology, not during the design and construction, but during the operation of the buildings. In order to coordinate the participants of the construction industry, Building Smart Company developed the data format with the open specification industry foundation classes, IFC. It is controlled by none of the companies or group companies, and it is supported by software products. In the end of the 2018, the company ISO suggested to all the players of the industry universal standards, ISO 19650 2018 and ISO 19650 2018. These standards represent a comprehensive system describing the major notions, phenomena, and rules. The developed standards develop the stages of the digital model of the construction and the different stages of the life cycle of the building. All that is aimed at opportunity, so the specialists could share one informational space as part of the domestic planning and internationally. On the 11th of June 2019, the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, signed the list of instructions on balance of the State Council session, where they defined the priority areas of the construction policy for the next few years in the midterm perspective. It's the pillar for the development of industry and the priority for the major companies in the market. One of the major thing mentioned in this list is the introduction of the building information modeling. On the 1st of September 2016, the government of Russia presented the plan of the events where they defined the strategy and obligatory indicators of the digital technology development in the construction industry of Russia. In the beginning of 2020, the Deputy Prime Minister of Russia, Marat Husnulin, instructed to intensify the process of industry shifting to digital technologies and to put a new deadline from 23 to 1st of January of 2021. Now we come up with a regulatory and legal framework for using new technologies, and since 2021 the digital models will become obligatory compulsory in the construction industry. Since 2023, the development of the digital model will become a compulsory obligation during the designing, construction, reconstruction, and the capital repair and demolishing the healthcare buildings. The budgetary cost of this, estimated cost of which is more than 500 million rubles. And the funding of this type of construction uses the federal budget funds. Since 2024, the similar requirements will be compulsory for any site of the capital construction of social infrastructure, education and science in the healthcare industry, physical training, art, social services provision, the estimated cost of which exceed 500 million rubles. And the funding of this type of site will use the budget funds of the Russian Federation or the financial resources of the legal entities with a share of Russia more than 50%. Several teams of the experts in the sphere of construction technologies together adjust the current legal regulatory framework and come up with new national standards for regulating of using the digital modeling in the construction industry. The major expert side is the Public Council of the Ministry of Construction of Russia. Nowadays, the government is challenged with the task of actualization of previously approved construction norms and standards. They should be aligned with a modern reality and introduce using the digital technologies. The expert community is planning to have the information modeling in construction, the rules of using in the projects of the secondary usage and while they are aligning. Using the digital modeling, the requirements of the information models of the capital construction sites for operation of the blocks of flats implemented by in accordance with the projects of secondary usage. Information modeling in construction, the rules of the development of the information digital model of the landscape on balance of engineering survey. The information modeling in construction, the provision and control of the quality of digital models. Information modeling in construction and the quality control of the construction operations. In July of 2020, in the website of Rosstandard, they opened the renewed state standards, information on construction works, information management in the construction using the technology of digital modeling. The part 1, the definitions and principles, and construction management at the stage of the construction featuring the digital modeling technologies. In August, they discussed 2 major standards on information and digital modeling in construction, the scripts of which were reapproached and aligned with the federal regulatory framework in terms of the terms used. It is needed in order to have the right application of the building information modeling in construction. Thus, we reduce the costs while information management and provide agreed and aligned actions taken by the participants of the projects and the actions covering secondary usage and reproduction of the information. And secondary, they are used while developing further regulatory and legal frameworks. Our state standards are aligned with the international standards. Today, we're using digital models fixed in these regulatory frameworks. On 27th of June 2019, the President of Russia signed the federal law number 151, according to which since 1st of June, the idea of the digital information and classifier of the construction information reflected in the construction code of Russia. Basically, half of the companies in industry use information models in their work. Most of them see the advantages of that. Improved communication between the process participants and major players, increasing the quality of the project, reducing the time for information exchange. Today, the Republic of Tatarstan has 40% of the clients that using the building information modeling. And most leading design institutes, TAT Инвестграждан проект, Кипрния Авиапром, TAT Док проект, Союз Химпром проект are using information technologies in their work. But it's important not only to develop the standard, but also to train the specialists so they could effectively use this in their work. The Kazan State Architecture and Construction University, as part of the agreement signed together with the Akbars Engineering Company, provided the further training of their staff members and teachers in terms of using the modern information modeling techniques. There were some diploma projects that were defended at the Department of Unique Sites and Buildings. And thus, we tested the technology of interaction of all participants while designing the digital model of the future buildings. This comprehensive approach in education and the legal initiatives will allow the industry to quickly move to new technologies. And it's not a long-term perspective issue, but it will be done in the next months. We covered the initial stages. We developed the regulatory framework and we trained highly professional specialists. We launched the pilot projects, and very soon every new building constructed and erected following its digital information modeling. The major driver of introduction of digital technologies is the state expertise of the Republic of Tatarstan. Its mission is to ensure the reliability, safety of the buildings at the design stage, construction stage, and its operation, and to guarantee the being the state of financial interests, providing unified cost policy in the investment construction sphere. Introduction of the information modeling technologies started by its staff members back in 2014. Over these years, they studied best global practices. They developed infrastructure and trained the specialists. And most vividly, the efficiency of the digital information modeling could be seen from real examples. We implemented a few pilot projects. The first project was implemented in August of 2020 together with a housing fund under the President of the Republic of Tatarstan. The expertise of the digital model of the residential complex in Salavat Kupre. First, they worked the interaction between the developer and designer using the experts using the BIM technology, and the BIM technology was tested in order to meet the standards of the current legal framework. They defined a list of the automated tests for the residential buildings. They tested the estimate cost taking into account the information from the BIM model. The project implemented together with Tatinvest Grazdan project, the piloting and testing the information modeling of the kindergarten with a capacity of 260 kids. The goal of this project is to vividly demonstrate the advantage of the BIM technology for state contractor. We performed the comparative analysis of the estimate cost of the site without using BIM technology, and the estimate cost with the documentation of information received from the BIM technology in the sites in the Republic of Tatarstan to make a list of the automated tests for the preschool institutions, and the estimated result is to include the recommendations on using the BIM technologies for the state contracts for the designing contracts that actually uses the budget funds of the Republic of Tatarstan. Define the list of the automated tests for the preschool educational institutions. The pilot project number 3, implemented together with the Architectural Bureau B1, is the expertise of the digital model of the parking PK4. It's also at the stage of its implementation. The goals of the project: first, to test the interaction between the expertise bodies in terms of defining the unified requirements to the BIM technologies, then development of the automated tests for the non-residential buildings, and then we develop our own requirements for the BIM technologies that are tested further on. Nowadays, the state expertise of the Republic of Tatarstan is working on developing the requirements to these information models. It's important to automate the process of testing the digital models with the opportunity and capacity of the modern software projects. In December of 2019, the State Housing Fund of the Republic of Tatarstan, under the President of the Republic of Tatarstan, announced a contest for developing of the new architectural concept of the second stage of Salavat Kupre residential complex. They studied the best practices of the housing development of both in Russian Federation and global leaders, and we developed the requirements for the of the next future build complex to use modern, efficient technologies. That's the requirement number 1. Take into account the modern requirements and the federal law regulations on energy efficiency to meet the standards of the comprehensive territory development that was developed by Construction Bureau Strelka, commissioned by the Ministry of Construction of Russia. It has 6 basic principles of the territory development. First, functional diversity, development of the areas with the developed street retail opportunities, which combine the office, residential and service functions. Efficient housing development taking into account of the medium-rise buildings, safety and security, reducing the traffic flow, high quality of the air, and opportunity of time spent in the public spaces year-round. The comfort of moving around the line, different transport routes and the balance of different means of transport that could be offered for the local residents. Flexibility and adaptivity, variety of the buildings and plots of land usage thanks to the efficient design. Comfortable housing, different layouts and types elements of the environment, public environment and public spaces, high quality areas as the impetus for the residents to together manage the territory and the houses. One of the participants of the contest is the Architectural Bureau AB1. That is the part of the Akbar Development Group. And in the shortest term, they develop not only the basic layouts of the future flats, but also have detailed discussion some other issues like engineering infrastructure, construction technologies, meeting all the modern requirements, interior logistics of the outside spaces, integration of the future sites into the current housing. The second stage of the construction of the Salvat Kupera residential complex create a comfortable public environment, define the borders of the private zones and public spaces. It allows to implement the yard with a free, car-free outdoor spaces in all areas. And the ground floors are non-residential, and the idea of this concept is to provide comfortable public spaces and that actually perform different social function, both commercial and household. Any complex has its unique outside territory. They are car-free except for municipal machinery that is using this reinforced part of the pedestrian zones. And the yards are developed following the principle of the quiet place. They have only the quiet places that do not disturb none of the residents. There is original solution while planning the quarter is the way the pedestrian zone was designed, because here they introduced the spaces for leisure time and noiseless games. This area is actually a recreation area. In these sections presented all the engineering communications equipped with the metering devices and have the floor access from every station. That actually meets the requirements of the modern housing development and actually simplifies the operation of the housing management companies. They have the underground stations that are enough for placing engineering infrastructure of the houses. The special focus was given to the development of the everybody's usage public spaces. They have the special, comfortable and convenient entries, which allows to implement the car-free outside areas. We have the special, the trolley solutions and the building information model technologies allowed to perform these efficient work even at the concept development stage. And thanks to the architectural concept of the Construction Bureau AB1 won the award and was approved by the President of the Republic of Tatarstan as the basic and founding one for the further development of the project. AB1 company, having a great experience in the information modeling, was capable of reducing the time for development of the estimate costs and technical documentation of absolutely brand new residential complex. It was developed in 4 stages. The stages that were covered within this period. First one is the development of architectural model. This very moment, based on this architectural complex, they have the detailed processing of the ground floor and the next floors of the blocks of flats. Based on the architectural model, they developed the engineering model with the indication of all the routings of the engineering systems and the placing of this engineering equipment. Also, at the first stage, they developed the construction model and they defined the major parameters of the project solutions applied here. The ground floor columns placement, the wall and intersection facilities. In accordance with all the models in mind, they performed the several integration of the technical councils of a different level. Technical council within the team, where they have vividly demonstrated all the conceptual solutions. Special council with developers, representatives of Kazan DSK, and representatives of Akbar's Stroy Company, and that provide services in the GZF site. They discuss the issues of operation of the erected buildings. As a result of this work, they come up with some sophisticated and well-balanced solutions that allow to optimize some of the project solutions. The second stage, the presentations of the final model of the next building to the customer. And as part of the discussions, they presented all the basic solutions and technical parameters of the future houses and blocks of flats. They discussed the deadlines and the time periods for the implementation of the project. After the building information model was approved and developers start to process the the cost and technical documentation approval. Using all the approaches in information modeling, in 4 months after the operation started, the information model and design documentation was submitted to the state expertise of the Republic of Tatarstan, and its specialists in a regular mode tested the BIM in accordance with the following criteria: automated test for collisions and conflicts, visual checklist according to the checklist, to check according to meeting the information model of the building. It excluded the collisions, the constructive and engineering elements in the future site. It allowed to confirm the capacity of the claimed works and the costs. To confirm the cost of the future site and building. Also, the information model allowed to analyze the project solutions within a shorter period of time. After testing the information model, the state expertise of the Republic of Tatarstan, Architectural Bureau AB1, started ahead of the time development of the project documentation and designing the information model of the reinforced concrete structures to further produce the Kazan KDSK company. KDSK is the advanced site for the production of different parts and materials for large-scale apartments of block. It has modern equipment to flexibly readjust for the demands of the market and build up to 250,000 square meters of housing a year. After modernizing a major production facility back in 2015, in order to improve its capacity, they bought special new equipment, special welding machines that actually produce the frames of any complexity and without any wastes. This equipment has the function of digital communication. This technology allows continuous data exchange along the whole chain of the product development and manufacturing. For effective production, as for the initial data, the factory needs the digital twin of the product manufactured. It has all information, all the materials used, and specific geometrical parameters. All the information is uploaded by the operator into this machinery to be further used by the robotized systems. And the usage of the information technologies allowed to ensure the production with the information modeling with the shortest time possible. Even now, the factory is producing the products, walls, intersections for the houses and blocks of flats of Salvat Kupere residential complex that will allow high quality of all works on erecting the houses for the residents in the future. All the advantages of using the BIM is the overall saving on the time on development of all the documentation, and using this information models, all the works were done in 8 months period, and the cost of that project didn't go up. And now, based on this information model of the Salvat Kupere resident complex, the subcontractor team Akbar Stroy, they calculate the calendar schedules and the timelines for material supply. They perform the geodesical survey and research on site residential complex. And when we describe the theory, now we go into the practice. Using the information technologies in the construction sphere is a great leap forward. It's our progress not lagging behind. A lot has been done along that way, but we have to do a lot more. We're just in the beginning, but we are confidently looking to the future.